Hello, my people, my people. Nice to see you again on this video. This is Okabili Tricks again. And on this one, I am going to share with you how to make a smooth transition from a student visa to a COS if your long-term plan is to, pursue a career in the UK after studies. Now, people come to the UK to study for different reasons, for different purposes, and all those purposes are valid. And I'm going to explain. So some people come to study and return to their home countries and use the skills and the education that they've acquired to work in their home country. Some people also come over to study and use their skills and education to work and serve the British government, as against serving their home country. All are valid. They are individuals with those rights to decide where they want to work, right? Um, so when you finish your studies and you decide to remain in the UK, it is valid as long as you get the right visa for that. Okay? And even in your visa application, you can clearly explain why you're asking for that visa, um, that you want to remain and work. Simple and short. Nobody's denied because they want to remain, and it is not compulsory that you return to your home country after studying in the UK. In fact, the UK organizations, hospitals, and so on would rather prefer for people to remain and work than go back. But they will never make you, they will never force you, they will never coerce you. It's up to you. It has to be your free decision, your voluntary decision to do what you like with your skills and your education and your time. Right? Now, with that established, let's move on. So some people struggle to make a transition from a student visa to a work visa, a COS, because perhaps there are not so many organizations or establishments hiring and offering COS. Okay, which is why some people, and also because some people would rather stay in their original profession. For instance, if someone is an engineer, the person might prefer to stay in engineering. And if there are no engineering firms or companies offering COS, but they are offering good jobs, it might be a good idea to go to a post-study visa, um, and work in that company until you figure out how to obtain your COS. You have at least 2 years to figure that out. That might also be a good idea if your long-term plan is not to remain in the UK. So you might want to stay for another 2 years, figure out what you want to do, where you want to go. That's also good. It's very valid. Might be a good decision in some cases, right? But this is for those who would want to switch to a COS after service and who also do not mind probably making a switch in their career if it comes to that, or at least holding on to a job until they decide what exactly they want to do long term. So let's say you've come to the UK, you have a 1 year, 2 year master's, PhD program, whichever, and you studied whatever in your first degree. Um, what people usually do is they study and they use their spare time to work, and they're permitted to work limited time, but they have that permission. And what most people do is to find a job in healthcare. Some of those jobs require previous experience, some do not, and they facilitate you and help you and teach you, guide you, support you on the job to learn the job and do it. And they supervise you, um, and equip you for a period of time until they are confident in your ability to do that job unsupervised before you can carry on. So what some people do is, they find, most people actually do is they find a job on the side to support themselves and pay rent. Cost of living is very high. Uh, the, the economies of the world are struggling generally. So they try to support themselves, have, those extra bucks coming in so they can, support themselves while they're studying. When they do finish, um, they look for ways to, move on to a different visa to, stay and work if that's what they want to do again. So what you could do is, this is what you could do. So when you come in, you could apply for a job in the NHS. Say apply for a job in the hospitals as a nursing assistant, as a care worker, as the case may be. And then you stay on that job and work hard. Please pay attention. Stay on the job, work very hard, give your best, learn, get certifications as much as you can, work hard, support your colleagues, make everyone's life easy, have a good relationship with members of staff, your line manager. And maybe 6 months into your 3 to 6 months into your job, discuss with your manager that you are a student and you'd want to hold on to this job after your studies, because after your studies, you don't have a post-studies visa or a COS, you lose your authorization to work in the UK. So you would have to be removed from the country. You would have to go back to your home country or anywhere else you want to go to, but not in the UK. If you remain after your student visa expires, you are staying in the UK illegally, and that's a crime. So you don't do that. Okay. So you have that conversation with your manager, your line manager, that you would want to remain, and the only way for you to remain is to get a COS. A post-study visa is very expensive. It's about £3,000. And if you intend to, raise family in the UK, let's say get married and have kids, if the person you are marrying is outside of the UK, you have to spend an additional £3,000 to bring them over. If you already have a wife and kids back in your home country and you want to bring them over, you spend that amount per individual to bring them over because you are on a post-study visa. So that's a very, very, very expensive process. If you're on a COS, you can easily bring them. Doesn't cost much. It costs peanuts to do that. Okay, and remember, all those monies per head, 3,000 per head, does not include cost of flight or those logistics. So it's really, really expensive when you look at the bigger picture. So you have that conversation with your manager that you would want to hold on to the job. And to hold on to that job, you need a COS. The manager can discuss with that organization that you work for, say the NHS hospital, to support you with a COS. And they can enter into a contract with you. Oh, if we're giving you a COS, you have to work for us for the next 2 years, blah, blah, blah. You weigh your options and decide whether to take the, the contract or not. A common clause in such contracts is that, well, if you decide to walk away from the job in the next 2 years, for instance, you pay back our expense on your COS. So COS is around £1,800 or so. Some say, oh, if you work up to a year, you pay half. If you work less than a year, you pay in full. So you weigh your options, but you have an informed contract with your organization, right? And then you stay on that job. You have your COS, you have a legal stay, right to work, and you remain and work until you figure out what you want to do long term. If you're interested in making a transition into healthcare, you can have another conversation with your line manager then, about what opportunities you would like to pursue. If it is a teaching hospital, for instance, you could show interest in any area you like, physiotherapy, nursing, and they can sponsor you to study on agreement. That agreement could be that if we sponsor you to become a nurse, to study nursing, you have to work for us for an additional 2 years after you qualify as a nurse. So which means we have given you a COS, you're working for us as a nursing assistant, as a care worker, as a CSW, right? um, so you have a job, you're working and you're studying at the same time. When you finish and you get licensed as a nurse, you have to work for us for an additional 2 years. Otherwise, you'll refund us our expenses in your education, which is very fair, sounds very fair to me. So you have those conversations and pursue other opportunities, especially if what you studied in your master's or first degree does not have significant relevance in the UK labor market at the time you finish. Because I'm aware that there are so many courses that international students come to study in the UK that are not very applicable in the UK marketplace or anywhere else. There are jobs that they can do, but those jobs might not be available at that time. They might be very rare at that time. So let's say somebody studies something like library sciences, for instance. Um, there might be jobs, but the pay might be less than what you can survive on, let alone thrive on. So you check what your options are, check what your propensities are in the labor market relative to what you studied in your master's or first degree. If it looks bleak, you might want to make a career transition. And since you're already experienced as a care worker, you might as well pursue one in healthcare. Okay? So um, these are some of the ideas I intended to share with you in this video, and I hope you find them helpful. I hope you find them useful. I hope you make use of them and better your chances, um, widen your opportunities, and get the best out of life generally. Thank you very much. Share this video to your loved ones, those who are still back home, who are interested in studying and working in the UK, those who are already in the UK, and you think this might benefit them. Share to those you don't know whether this video will benefit them or not. You never know. So share. That's the best way to say thank you to me for this is to share the video. I don't need payment for any of this. I'm not an agent. I don't take payment from people for any of these things. I just share information that is legal and helpful. So see you on the next one. Subscribe, share, and we'll keep this going. Thank you.